Welcome, everybody. Things are going really, really well for the Center for Political Innovation. We, at this point, have 103 dues-paying members. We are expanding all across the country. We just had an amazing event in New York City, and Peter Coffin is making yet another one of his amazing documentaries about it. We just had a great event in Missouri, a national retreat gathering, and some of that video has already been posted. And you're hearing from me now because I am starting and essentially launching a new tradition that we're going to start doing every day, if we can, on the Center for Political Innovation YouTube channel. We're going to have a morning message that we put out every morning to kind of give orientation to our members. Let people spend their day in a revolutionary way. Let this be what you listen to when you drink your morning coffee, while you're getting ready for work, etc. We're going to have morning messages, and people can talk about world events. People can read a quotation that means something to them. People can share what's on their minds. We're hoping that many different CPI members will step up to the plate and start recording these morning messages to kind of give a boost to our membership and help build the CPI YouTube channel as we move ahead to many more great endeavors. So I thought, as the ideological leader, I would do the first CPI morning message, and I would read to you quotations from the Little Red Book, Mao Zedong, that are meaningful to me. Now, the first one I wanted to read is one that's been coming up in my mind a lot lately. The masses are the real heroes, while we ourselves are often childish and ignorant. And without this understanding, it is impossible to acquire even the most rudimentary knowledge. Now, that's a quote from Mao in the Little Red Book, and what he's explaining is that at the end of the day, it is the masses of people in their millions who make history. And as tempting as it is sometimes to fall into an elitist mindset, to think of the masses of people as just sheep who are not smart enough to be revolutionaries like us, we should never fall into that trap. When we interact with our friends, with our coworkers, with our classmates, with the people in our neighborhood, even though they may not be where we're at politically yet, even though they may not have the understanding that we have to realize that they are going to be the people who determine the future of the country. And they are going to outdo us in their boldness and their heroism. When the time comes, they are going to do amazing, heroic things that we wouldn't even imagine doing. The masses of the people are the real heroes. We, the revolutionaries, we can offer guidance. We can nudge them in the right direction. We can point them toward taking independent historical action to change the course of history. But it will be them, the broad masses of people, who actually make history. And as tough as it might be, we have to approach them and view them that way. The people that we speak to, the people who have confused ideas about the war in Ukraine or about what socialism is, the people who go along right now and are currently obeying the current power structure, when the crisis comes, it will be them who do the most amazing and heroic things. And Mao Zedong had that brilliance. And in the Little Red Book, he was constantly calling out the people in the Chinese Communist Party who fell into the trap of commandism or elitism, looked down on the masses of people. He urged the Chinese Communists not to think that way. And it was that brilliant approach that they called the mass line that enabled Mao to lead the colossal revolution that has changed the course of history. And I also want to read you one other quotation that I think is very important for what we're doing now as the Center for Political Innovation. How should we judge whether or not a youth is a revolutionary? How can we tell? Well, there can only be one criteria, namely, whether or not he's willing to integrate himself with the broad masses of the workers and the peasants, and does so in practice. If he is willing to do so and actually does so, he is a revolutionary. Otherwise, he is a non-revolutionary and a counter-revolutionary. Now, that's Mao basically explaining that if you want to be a revolutionary, it's not enough to think correctly. It's not enough to have good understanding. You have to win over the masses of people. You have to be embedded. You have to be where the people are, nudging them along and pushing them in a revolutionary direction. And that's really important for us to keep in mind as the Center for Political Innovation transitions to becoming an outreach-oriented organization. We have a lot of efforts going on right now to approach the masses of people. We're working for peace and the peaceful reunification of the Korean Peninsula. We are working to win people to the understanding that one can be both a Christian and a communist, and that anti-Christianity and the culture wars is not helpful. We're talking about an economic program. We have our 4-point plan. We've got some plans for a conference coming up in Portland, a conference in Chicago, perhaps soon, and we are very excited. So as we transition to becoming an outreach organization, and as we live our lives as revolutionaries who love the people and take the future of our country into our own hands, who struggle to bring justice to the world and to oppose the maniacal, evil system of imperialism, capitalism in its monopoly stage, let's take with us some of the optimistic revolutionary understanding that Mao put forward in the Little Red Book. I hope this will be one of many great morning messages to help people start their day with an optimistic revolutionary perspective. Thank you very much, and look forward to whoever does the next one tomorrow morning. Thanks, everybody.